All right. Hello, hello. So interesting little tidbit. We started this stream and it looks like we had a little bit of a YouTube error. And so I actually went through quite a bit of the lesson for today, which was pretty funny when I realized that no one was actually watching. So thank you so much for the patience, everyone. We are going to be doing this every week, and I hope you didn't wait too long. So I think we can go ahead and get into things here. What you should see on the screen is a little bit of actually, let me back that up a little bit, because we walk through some of this. We're going to talk through some of the foundational terms and concepts of what decentralized finance is. And then from there, we're going to do a little bit of a hands-on. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is, what is a blockchain? You've probably heard the term tossed around. And at the top here, we have the logos of some popular ones: Ethereum, Cardano, Solana. So blockchain technology, in a way, it's not that new. It was first discussed in the early 90s, but really it gained kind of a large following after a pseudonymous inventor named Satoshi created Bitcoin, using it to found a decentralized financial network, i.e. Bitcoin. Blockchains are really just, in the simplest terms, a list of transactions that anyone can view. They can verify it's publicly available. I could go on right now and look at every single block that's ever been minted for Bitcoin since 2009. And you can do the same for a lot of these other ones as well. It's kind of a benefit in some ways, because there's always a lot of transparency. On the other hand, it's important to know that while there's a lot of transparency, the identity of the people transacting, that is anonymous, right? So you have a unique anonymous wallet that represents you as you're doing those transactions. And that's a very big difference from, say, when you use PayPal or your bank, and obviously they have all of your information. Or even if you're familiar with Coinbase, you're familiar with Binance, and to use those exchanges, you need to do KYC, which is a term for know your customer. Essentially, they need a picture of you. They need your date of birth, your name, a lot of invasive stuff that can make some people uncomfortable, especially if your driver's license is funny looking as mine is. So blockchains are decentralized. That's another unique thing about them. While they are essentially a form of a database, they're a decentralized technology, and their infrastructure, meaning the hardware that they run on, that they operate on, it's hosted by individuals all over the world. And this is the really cool part, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, anyone, even my mother, could operate a server, a node, a miner to help operate that chain, to operate that blockchain. And people that do that, they're compensated for it, right? You've probably heard of like Bitcoin miners or Ethereum miners. They run servers at their particular location that process the transactions over the blockchain. And in return, they're rewarded by the fees. For Ethereum, you probably noticed those gas fees, right? Those gas fees go to the miners, pays the miners. At the bottom, I put some of the popular blockchains. I believe at least Ethereum and Cardano are probably the top non-Bitcoin blockchains. Bitcoin, being the first, is the largest. I put an asterisk by its name, though, because we're really not going to talk much about Bitcoin today. It does have some limited financial services and some other applications that you can run on it, but by and large, Bitcoin's focus is on financial transactions, sending money from point A to point B. and really not much else today. They are working to expand that. There are some additional layers to that technology that is starting to produce some new services and some new directions that it can go, but it's really not commonly used for what we're going to be talking about today. So today, the things that we're talking about apply more to Ethereum, especially. Ethereum is the DeFi market leader. And then others like Cardano and Solana have very large communities as well. And there's a lot of others we're not going to get into. These aren't a list of my favorites or anything. These are just a list of the ones I think most people hear about. And just as a reminder, as we go through, feel free to drop your questions into the comment section, and we'll get to it, at the end or maybe along the way. So I want to really hammer home the difference between decentralized versus centralized. Decentralized, as we talked about, is individuals hosting hardware to support the network. Examples of these, and I should fix the typos on the bottom of this. On the left, the bottom left, it should have said examples of this. On Cardano, an example of a decentralized financial service is SundaySwap. On Ethereum, it would be Uniswap. On Solana, it would be Soldex.ai. And there's dozens and dozens more than that on each of those chains. Those are just some popular ones that people use. And all of those services, they operate on the blockchain, meaning they're not sitting on some centrally controlled server at some corporate office in Silicon Valley. They are distributed, their services are distributed across that entire blockchain and everyone that's supporting it. Really cool. And what that means is that it's a global and open financial network. Anyone can participate in that. It's not censored. It's not controlled by a government. And while that is, to a lot of people, positive, obviously governments are sometimes a little bit uncomfortable with that. And that's why we're probably going to see more regulation coming in the next few years, especially Europe. I believe circa 2025 is planning to start rolling out some more aggressive cryptocurrency regulations. The U.S. currently is doing a study. The U.S. government is currently doing a study across all of its departments, looking at the value of, or lack of value, in integrating cryptocurrencies into their various functions. And I think that study is due to be completed late this year, Q4, maybe like November. So in any case, what that tells us is that, yes, there will be more regulations because this space doesn't operate, the decentralized space doesn't operate within the traditional parameters that banks and corporations do. Now, on the centralized side, that doesn't mean that there aren't still valuable services. Centralized essentially means that if you're going to use a centralized app, centralized service, it's going to be corporate owned. It's going to be centrally controlled by a single business entity. A lot of these even have shareholders. They're publicly traded. That is a very different culture, obviously, than a kind of anonymous, globally distributed and shared financial service like you find on DeFi. But examples of these would be Coinbase, Binance, Kraken. There's so many others. These are just some that are probably well known to most people as centralized financial services. And there are some advantages to using these. One, some of these tend to be a little bit more regulated because they're publicly owned or they're actual licensed businesses. Not all regulation is bad. Some regulation means that, they may keep their books in order. It also means that they're probably not going to try to steal from you or rug pull you, which is a risk sometimes on the decentralized side, because decentralized finance does offer a measure of anonymity. That means that it is also sometimes abused by criminals, and they'll do basically fake projects. They'll trick people into investing, and then they'll disappear with your money, right? You don't really see that on the centralized side too often, once in a while, right? But it's a rarity. So pluses and minuses to both, but today we're going to be really focusing on the decentralized side. Now, to use a decentralized app to use something on, say, Ethereum, before you can do that, you need a wallet. There's a lot of terms for this. It could be a non-custodial wallet. It could be a Web3 wallet. Web3 is slang essentially for crypto, meaning Web2 was kind of the old version of the internet. Web3 is what blockchain brings us. But I will just call it DeFi wallet to keep it simple. So what a DeFi wallet does is it essentially is safeguarding the keys or the passwords that let you access your currencies. So it's not that you're moving those tokens physically onto this wallet, but you are controlling the password essentially to those tokens, wherever they may be. And so the wallet is what allows you to safeguard your cryptocurrencies and to send and receive them, because you need to have that information input in order to transact with them. We call these wallets self-custodial. That means only you can access those currencies. The difference is third-party custody would be what you get with the centralized services like Coinbase, Binance, and those guys. They control your tokens. Those tokens and coins, if you have Bitcoin or Ethereum on Binance, then Binance technically controls it. And while I don't believe Binance in itself would ever try to take those tokens from you, there are cases where a centrally corporate-owned business that's providing crypto services will take your tokens or coins from you if you put them onto their exchange. Great example of this is in the past month, we saw stuff like Celsius or BlockFi really struggle with this bear market. Some of them, like Celsius, they really did go bankrupt, and people are finding out later maybe they should have read the terms of service a little bit better, because there's a risk that they're not going to get their money back, that Celsius as a company can liquidate your tokens that you put on there and use that money in the bankruptcy proceedings or to pay other people or to pay other debts. So that's a big risk. And in these kind of austere, uncertain market conditions, I would not put a lot of faith into most of those companies. The ones I would trust a little bit more are really the ones that have been around for a few cycles. And I would put near the top of that list Binance, FTX, Coinbase, I think. And there's a few others, but those are, one, big enough to weather the bad market, and two, have been around enough years that they're very likely to be fine, even if this bear market is prolonged, even if the market takes another turn for the worst. But that is the important distinction between self-custodial and third-party custody. You should always be your own custodian of your coins and your tokens. If you have something on Binance, something on Coinbase, or one of those services, I recommend you move it off. I recommend you get a wallet if you don't have one yet. Get a DeFi wallet and move them over. And we're not going to get into great detail on how you would do that. There's a lot of videos out there on how the companies themselves that produce these wallets, they also have some great resources. But I will tell you, the market leaders are some of the good ones that I'm familiar with. MetaMask is probably the most popular. MetaMask isn't a physical wallet. It's basically a browser plugin or a mobile app. So for me personally, I use MetaMask on my phone, on Android, on iOS, and on my computer as a browser plugin. Ledger produces what they call physical hardware wallet. It looks like a USB drive, like a little memory stick, little portable memory drive that you just plug into your computer, into a USB drive, and you operate it that way. That way, your keys, your passwords are on that physical device. And so if you have a safe or you have somewhere you want to hide it, you can. That is a little bit safer than using the browser plugin, the mobile app version like MetaMask, because you have that additional layer of control where that device can't be accessed if it's not plugged into a computer. So a lot of people that are very serious about crypto, they usually end up on a hardware wallet like Ledger. But, you're still probably going to use something like MetaMask because it's just very simple, quick, and easy. You can always move stuff from MetaMask onto your Ledger later. No reason you can't use both, right? And then Trust Wallet I put up there is another popular choice. I would say either any of these three are good to use and to understand. And if you have questions about it, certainly reach out to us. You can always reach out to me directly, or if if you're part of the NumisMe community who is sponsoring this and this series of videos, you can always drop in, and you don't have to be an investor or user. Just reach out to us. We're all part of the same crypto Web3 family, and we want everyone to be safe. We want everyone to, as they say, we want everyone to make it. So glad to help out where we can if you need help, setting these up or transferring funds onto them. So now we're going to switch. I'm going to be switching windows. Let's see. 1 second. We're going to be jumping over to MetaMask. And so what you should be seeing right now, if I did it right, is my screen in a web browser. And what we have on there now is, actually, let me step back because I had stepped through this a little bit. So first step is, hey, you want to go get that wallet set up. Let's just visit metamask.io. That's the website for MetaMask. Like I said, you have other choices you could use. Always be careful about what you pick. There are a lot of fake sites in the crypto world. They'll do, they'll do tricky things like put metamask.edu or metamask.wtf or something, right? They'll find some sneaky domain to slap on the back end of this, and then they may have some virus or some sort of spyware or something that you may end up downloading instead of downloading the wallet. So always double check your address, and if you're not sure, we should really post up some of these links under this video, so I can do that after this. But metamask.io, you would download it, the download button there, and like you see, it's actually pretty handy to just kind of walk through this because all crypto wallets functionally do the same thing, right? It lets you interact with blockchain apps, right, which we call decentralized applications. Can buy, store, send, swap tokens through it. That's what we're going to do today. And you own your data. So that's the most important thing that we can't emphasize enough. You have control of your passwords, your keys, your coins and tokens. I can say personally, I've been the victim of a protocol hack where I lost a lot of my crypto investment. So security for me is always number one, always, because you might feel invincible now. Maybe nothing's ever happened to you, but I can tell you, no matter how many precautions you take, if you are not careful about how you manage your personal security and the security of your wallets, there may come a day where you wake up and you look and it's all gone. So don't play around. Make sure, however you do this, you safeguard it. They always tell you when you create these wallets and they assign you that random key, don't save it on your computer. Don't save it on email. The best way is to write it down somewhere and then put that note somewhere safe. And you could even make multiple copies, but you want to be careful because if someone gets into your email or they get onto your phone or they see you took a picture of it on your phone and those are the keys that let them into your crypto wallet, then you're basically done for at that point because they can go in and control your wallet 100% and they can just take everything out. So, all right. So let's say you've downloaded it. You've installed it, and when you install it, it puts this little icon up here in the top right. Now you want to fund it, right? So it doesn't come with any money. You need to get that money. You really have two options here. First option is you're going to be able to use something like Binance or Coinbase. You can move funds from there to your wallet. And it's usually pretty straightforward. There should be some sort of button option where you go to look at your assets or your coins, and it says withdraw or transfer, and you would just transfer them from that exchange to whatever your address is here. In terms of MetaMask, your address is always going to be at the top. And you just click on it, copies it to keyboard, boom, copied. And then you can go and paste it into, say, Binance or Coinbase and tell it, hey, this is where I want to send that money. Now, the second option, and let me see, I think the second option, I need to go to Ethereum here for a second, is that a lot of these wallets have ways that you can purchase some limited cryptocurrency with credit card, with a bank account directly. And that's also pretty straightforward. In this case, my MetaMask, I can do buy right here on the interface. This is the user interface, by the way, for MetaMask. I could hit the buy button, and the options here, if you have a Coinbase account, just click that. It'll take you to Coinbase and let you buy through Coinbase, and it immediately deposits that Ethereum into your wallet. Alternatively, you can go to these other ones like Transact, MoonPay, Wire. You set those up, and they also will withdraw from your bank account. It's available. Most of these are available in 100 to 150 countries around the world, or 145. And so you can deposit it that way as well. I don't think any of these take more than 5 to 15 minutes, depending, as long as there's no issues with your location or with your bank or anyone else. Some banks do get funny about purchasing crypto. I think that's improving rapidly, but I have seen messages before from people that say, hey, I tried to buy some Ethereum. My bank rejected it. They thought it was my account was hacked. But I talked, usually in those cases, you talk to them, you tell them, hey, no, that was really me, verify my information, and then try again, and you'll be good. So these options will allow you to deposit, to buy ETH in this case, and deposit it directly to your wallet. Now, I mentioned earlier, the reason that only lets you buy ETH is because Ethereum really is the biggest and most used blockchain out of all of crypto, not counting Bitcoin, of course, but in terms of using decentralized financial services, Ethereum is the biggest. And so MetaMask, when it was first created, was really geared towards Ethereum, but it will work on most other blockchains. And you can see even in mine, I have, half a dozen others right up top here. These are completely different blockchains with different communities, different token, different services available. And, I could just bounce between them as needed to do whatever I need to do. Of course, today I'm going to go to the test network because I don't want to actually transact anything while we're talking through this. And I'm using the Kovan test network. That's just one of the test networks on Ethereum. And Kovan ETH is basically fake Ethereum. So you could always get a lot of this. You could make yourself look, quite rich if you want to entertain yourself. So let's do a little bit of an orientation to this MetaMask UI. In the bottom left, you have your assets. Those are all of the tokens that you own that are associated with your address. So essentially your address, your wallet has these tokens in it. And you can see I have a few different ones. These are from different protocols, different projects within the DeFi space. We're not going to get into it, but because there's thousands and thousands of tokens and there's new ones made every day, you can actually import data on other ones. They may not show up automatically, but you can import the data. It's a little bit of work to do this because you need to get the contract address. And if you have the contract address, usually this will automatically complete for you. And then you just hit add custom token. And then if you ever need support, use this button. Don't go on to something like Twitter or Reddit and say, hey, MetaMask, I need help. I know a lot of, especially the younger generation, it's a very common thing to do, which is just to reach out via social media to ask for help with stuff. But the problem you're going to get is there's a lot of fake scammer accounts. So don't do that. Use this button here. This button here you can trust. You're not going to be able to trust anything you see on social media. And then that'll take you to some website that'll let you fill out a form and contact them and get the help that you need. So if we go back up here to the right of assets, we see activity. We talked about before, blockchains are open and transparent. You can see all of the activity on them. That doesn't mean that you know the identity behind the wallets that are doing those transactions, but you can see the transactions. And so I can see here July, and then back in November, I was doing some work here, doing some transactions with this wallet. I think I was probably testing something like that July transaction. I'm pretty sure I was testing something for the NumisMe community. And then you go up here into the middle. We talked about buy. Then we go to send. Send is how I can send funds from my wallet to yours. The beauty of this, especially if you're someone that transfers money internationally, you can do it quicker and easier and often cheaper than you can do through your bank. Or even say something like Western Union. You can do it in a matter of minutes even. And depending on which blockchain you use, I could send, there's no limit on how much I can send. I could send $100,000 to someone. I'm in America. I could send it to someone in, say, Portugal, and I could probably do it for a few cents up to maybe a couple dollars in terms of the fee to send it at most. That's all costs. And it might only take, say, 10 minutes max. In some cases, it might take under a minute. It's just incredible. I'm someone who has had to send money internationally, and the number of phone calls and discussions I've had to have with my bank, and then they think something suspicious, or the number of times I had to fight with Western Union. I remember I had a friend that was stuck in, he was stuck in Japan, lost his wallet, lost his passport, lost everything. He just needed some money, but I couldn't get through on Western Union to get him those funds because of the restrictions they had. If he had his phone still, so if he just had a crypto wallet, I could have just sent him that money right away and we would have been good. Unfortunately, at the time, I didn't really use crypto. So, these are some of the advantages to setting up these wallets. And then swap. So there is a swap button. Because I'm on the test network, it's not going to work, but the swap button is just another way of doing what I'm about to show you. And so let's say you're on Ethereum, you're on Cardano, you're on whatever, right? You've got your wallet loaded up with some funds that you sent over from Binance maybe, or maybe you bought directly through MetaMask and you want to go trade it into something. Let's say you want to buy some, some Shiba Inu. You want to buy some dog meme coins. Well, depending on what blockchain you're on, there's going to be a different kind of market leader in terms of a decentralized exchange. For Ethereum, the primary exchange is Uniswap. So I'm going to go there now. So I go to Uniswap, and you can see in the upper right, it says Connect Wallet. So obviously you got to connect the wallet if you want to use this app. And when you bring that up, it'll bring up a few options depending on what you're using. You pick the correct one. In this case, will be MetaMask. You could use Wallet Connect or Fortmatic. Those will actually open up a whole other menu with a bunch of other options if you're using different kinds of wallets. But MetaMask is usually the most common one that you're going to see. I pick MetaMask and it connects. And so now I'm connected. I can go and trade. Now this wallet only has a few things on it right now. It looks like I have some Chainlink and some Ethereum. Let's say I want to trade that Chainlink. Maybe I want to trade one Chainlink for some Ethereum. So on the top, I would pick what I want to sell. And on the bottom, I will pick what I want to receive. And then it'll do the calculation and tell you. Now keep in mind, these numbers are not correct because this is a test network. But it tells me that if I trade one Chainlink, I'll get 0.00015 Ethereum. which in the real world would not be right at all. But that's what it says I would get. So you could hit swap here. Now, before we hit swap, I want to stress just one item. If you're someone that does have a large sum of money, or you're trying to trade against a small project, there's a risk of what they call slippage. And slippage basically means if you try to buy too much at once, whatever the current price is of that token, it'll go up while you're buying because you put in so many buy orders on that the price starts to rise. You don't want to do it too quick. So what you can do is you can actually set a tolerance here for slippage. You can set it down, say, to 1%, and then you can try to push the transaction through. The alternative here, you can set it to auto, which does 0.5%, it looks like. And just to show you what happens, let's say I came in and I wanted to actually sell Ethereum for Chainlink. And let's say I wanted to use 100 Ethereum. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. And the exchange tells me, hey, price impact warning. If you do that, you will lose 96% of your value in that trade. So whatever that 100 ETH is worth in terms of dollars, I will lose 96% of that because it's just too much. Either there's not enough liquidity here or I'm moving the price too much. So that's where if you're going to do a big trade, you need to size it down. If you see that warning, your trade's probably too high. It's probably too big. So move it down. Now, because this is a test network, I already know that I got to move it down quite a bit because even if I put 1 ETH in here, it still does, a 26% drop in value. We can drop it down here. We could do like 0.3. Yeah, 0.3. 0.3 looks sufficient. I don't have that much. So actually, let's move it to 0.1. So I figured out what I want to trade. I'm happy with the amount. I don't see any sort of risk of losing any value here. I hit swap. You go to swap. It pops up this window asking you to confirm. So I look at everything. Looks good. 4.5% price impact. I can live with that. And I hit confirm swap. Now that will pop up a window, which I'm noticing. Okay. So I'm noticing when the pop-up comes up, you are not seeing that. That's on me. I probably missed any comments about that. Let me see if there's a way to fix that really quick. We'll do display. Whoa. Okay. And getting back there. Okay. So we go to display and we see this window. And this window is going to be how you confirm. Now you want to double check what it's asking you to do. And the gas looks reasonable. Now, as you get more familiar with DeFi, there are extra steps that you can take within this window to confirm that you're not walking into a hack or a scam or a trick, into some sort of nefarious trade. Good thing is, if you're on Uniswap, you should be fine, right? Uniswap is a known and trusted site. If you're somewhere that you know and trust, you should be good. But there are suspicious sites out there, and when you're interfacing with them, you want to be careful. So I'm going to hit confirm on this. And you're going to see transaction is submitted. I could view that in the Explorer. Now this is testnet. It should show up, but there we go. This is a testnet transaction. You can see in the top right, it's still processing, but it tells you the basics. It tells me from who to who. So this is going to be me interacting with Uniswap, how much gas I paid. And when you look on the real Ethereum, yeah, okay, so then that's what it looks like. It's basically telling you that all the transfers that took place. I transferred some Ethereum to them. They moved it through some different pools, and the end result is that I end up with some chain link here. So very cool. I like that they have that, and I can go ahead and hit close here. Now let me just briefly step back because I think this wasn't displayed for you guys, and I apologize. But on here, earlier we did that little bit of a UI overview. Assets, these are the tokens that you currently own. The activity, this is what you have done with this wallet. The buying, and let me switch, I think, what was it? Oops. Switch to Ethereum. And when you go to buy, these are what I was discussing earlier, the Coinbase and some of these third parties where you use your bank to load Ethereum onto your wallet. These are all fine. These are safe. You can use these, assuming your bank is fine with it, right? Let's go back in here. And the send button, that's where you can send money to other people. Your wallet address up here. And those are the main things that you need to interact with this. You can use this to switch between different different accounts. So MetaMask, in my case, I have 5 wallets or 4 wallets set up. And you can pick different blockchains to interact with. I could jump to Kronos. I could jump to Phantom, Avalanche. All of these are set up on here. And so MetaMask can do more than Ethereum. It can do almost all of them. So that's an option. So now we're at this point. Let me... Oh, now you're going to see my screen bouncing around a little bit. Let me fix this. And window. This is what you call someone who doesn't live stream a lot. I'm more used to doing the recorded format videos. So at this point, what questions do we have? And I agree, Aaron. You can't emphasize enough. Write down your keys and seed phrases on paper and put it in a safe place. Always. I can't tell you what it feels. I can't tell you what it feels like to wake up and see your money's all gone. It's not fun. Don't be that one. Don't be that guy. So let me see. Yeah, apologies for the delay at the beginning. That was not what I was looking to do. Hate to keep you hanging. Next time, we'll make sure to fix these issues with YouTube. We did have a little bit of a bumpy start. Yeah, this will be recorded too. This will be, I might edit out a few of the awkward parts, but we will have this video up for future reference. And thanks, Aaron. So, yeah, I'll give you guys a 30 seconds, see if anything else comes up. But that's the introduction to DeFi. It's not a deep dive. There are layers and layers to this that we would peel back. And we will in future videos. I hope that you'll keep coming out and checking out some of our other ones. We'll touch on some other topics. We'll even get into some more degenerate and advanced, as they say, degenerate and advanced types of trades that you can do. Does NumisMe support Ledger? Yes, I believe it does. I don't have a Ledger. We can double check. I thought someone told me that they did test Ledger, though. I'm glad to hear that, Modulus. There's a lot to learn in DeFi, but if you really truly want to manage your financial sovereignty, you want to be your own bank, or you just don't trust the banks. I saw that article again in the news. I've quoted often that the average savings account in the U.S., biggest economy in the world, the average savings you get per year is 0.06%. That's just sad. I was quoting 0.07, so I was already off. It's getting lower. And the banks, according to this news article, effectively, they said there's no incentive, there's no need, that consumers that young consumers, say 30s and younger, never really lived in a time when bank rates were a lot higher. And so they're getting away with it, is really what the article said. They're getting away with it because we don't know any better. We've become conditioned to accepting such a pitiful amount. I mean, 0.06%, unless you're a multi-millionaire, that's a worthless return. You can, and it's a perfect example in DeFi. If you have US dollars just sitting there, you could earn easily at least 10%, if not much, much more in DeFi. And we're here to do it safely. So, any final comments, anyone? All right. Well, it's been really great. I appreciate everyone coming out, and I appreciate everyone's patience. If you got any feedback, things you wish we covered, things you think we could do better, questions, anything at all, leave it in the comments, message me, whatever it is. Happy to help out. So we'll go ahead and close it out here. Safe trading, everyone.